Howdy, folks. We're back. This is episode 2 of the Thoughts from the Inner Sphere as we work in the 3025 Technical Readout book from FOSSA from way back in the day. And we're going to work on today is we're going to look at the Commando, the Commando 2D, which is the standard book mech for the Commando. It's really, actually, I consider a pretty decent mech. It's kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to being a medium or actually a light mech. It can either be a scout mech or an anti-scout mech. It has enough firepower to hunt down the 20 tonners, 25 tonners, and do a decent job. Being that it has a SRM6, an SRM4, and a medium laser. Now, the one thing that most people do complain about is that you have two different types of missile systems that shoot short-range missiles. And I'll get to that in a little bit. Some things that you can do to alleviate these problems. But for the standard one, being a 6.9 mover, doesn't have jump jets, which is kind of a problem in some ways for a light mech of its size, but it does have some decent armor for a light. Now, being that it's a 6.9, in open terrain, it can get up and move from one position to another, get some decent movement modifiers, so when someone's shooting at it, it has a better chance of not dying immediately. So you can get from one terrain feature to the next terrain feature, get into some light woods or heavy woods, be it whatever it is, get into either partial cover, anything to help it from being blasted off the face of the planet. Now, like I said, one of the drawbacks though might be that it doesn't have jump jets, which some people will swear that the only way you can ever go to battle is have jump jets. Makes you more mobile, which I cannot disagree with. But when it comes into facing off against, let's say, assault mechs, yeah, that's not its cup of tea. It's a scout. It can get in there, find the enemy. Like I said before in the previous video, scouts, the whole position is find the enemy, draw them out, or locate it and then have the follow-on forces do the heavy work. And then when the heavy mechs and the medium mechs are doing the Lord's work, they can knife in, get into the flanks, catch the rears, hitting, let's say a mech's got a lot of its right side shot off. They can get into that right side really quickly. They're trying to screen it off from other people shooting at it by moving their mech in a certain way. Lights can move in there really quick and then funnel fire into that section that has the least amount of armor or open torso into the internal structure. And a mech like this with SRMs can seriously do a lot of crits with those SRMs. Just little 2-pointers, but you get a lot of chance of doing a crit. And if you're doing the old fish for the ammo explosion, a mech like this does a heck of a job. Now, there's a couple variants that, which one is just like, yeah, right. I've never seen it ever used before. There's one variant that drops all your weapons down for a large laser and a medium laser, and that's all you got. That version I've never seen on the field of battle, and to me that's something I'd never take, because you're kind of defeating the purpose of this entire mech. What it does in the first place is it's a hunter-killer type for against light mechs and getting in there and just trying to do crits. And when you only have two weapon systems like that, it's not per se what I would say the best way to go. Now the second variant, which is the 3A, this replaces the one of the medium lasers with a flamer, and okay, what is it? upgrades the SRM4 to a SRM6. So you get 2 SRM6s and a flamer, and you're gonna have to dump. Imagine the easiest way to do that is just transfer the ammo. I think it is, if I remember right, this version. You just take the SRM4 ammo and move it over into the rack. So now you have a 2 SRM6s. And see, unless, no, this one, is this, maybe, yeah, this is the one where they dump a ton of armor, because it doesn't say anything about getting rid of the other medium lasers. So you end up with a flamer in the arm and a so you got 2 SRM6s, a flamer, and a medium laser. So it doesn't say anything about dropping the other one. So that could be work. That'd be something that you could use for burning out infantry, have them do the Bernie dance. I'm not sure if that's the best way to go, which kind of gets us into the customization. The commandos I always used, I had the tendency to downgrade the SRM6 to 2 SRM4s, share the ammo, take that extra ton. So basically, you're taking 2 tons of space. So you're taking 1 ton, stealing it away from the SRM6. So now it becomes an SRM4. So you have 2 SRM4s. You're taking 1 ton of that ammo that you had. That is, so you don't have 1 ton with each one now. You just have 1 ton to feed to both missile racks. And then you turn around, take those 2 tons and give it 4 jump jets. Which kind of brings me to the one thing I wanted to talk about, is when you have medium or light mechs that are fast, when they go into city fights, they're going to be at a slight disadvantage because the speed can be a detriment. Because I don't know if people know this, some people do. But when you're in a city and you're on hard concrete and you try to do a high G turn, there's a little skid rule. You may end up skidding. There's been times when I've had like a locust, like from the previous vlog. I tried to make a turn after going a long distance and failing his pilot check and then slam into a wall and basically almost kill himself because he tries to play basketball against concrete building. Not a good deal. But if you have, let's say, a jump jets when you're in a city, sometimes it's just instead of having to run around the street, you can jump over, say, a level 2 building, jump over it, so you have enough jump to go over it and then go to the next hex, get behind somebody on a different street, etc. And that is a pretty decent variant, and you still got those SRMs to get into some place where you want to do a lot of crits. So it's one way or the other. If you don't want to go with the jump jet possible variant, which I can understand, is to take the same SRM6, downgrade it to an SRM4 again. That gives you an extra ton, and now you have, I like to have one version where I got a medium laser in each arm, and then you have 2 SRM4. So your firepower basically stays about the same, but you are capable of getting in, doing the anti-light scout role, or doing just plain scouting. And then if you need to knife in and take care of some business, you can do that too. So that's one of the things you can look at. Now, as a stock plain mech, the 2D, you cannot go wrong. It is an excellent mech. It will get in there and mess around and do the job. I have seen some individuals that take the Commando we'll get back to kind of customization, is downgrade the SRM6 to an SRM4 so they have two of them, and then upgrade the armor. So you now sharing 1 ton of ammo for both the SRM4s. Then you can then take those 2 tons and throw it straight into armor, upgrading the armor package on this thing, and that really makes it a really good at anti-scouting role, taking out scouts, get in there, because then it has some armor to go in there and fight it out, and you'll last longer with the better armor that you do have. So that's some ideas. So other than that, some typical rules, like I said, is just plain scouting. Getting in there, going from cover to cover, position to position, finding the seams, and getting in there and hitting individuals in their weak spots if possible, hitting weak flanks, or going in as one of the picture shows here, 3 commandos hunting down a poor innocent little locust. So that's going to be the anti-scouting rule that they can achieve in the game. So with that being said, hopefully this helps you out a little bit. This is Hulkrex. You guys have a great day.